Hi there, I've been asked to do a wee kind of video tour of my artwork, so I'll go into the kitchen where some of the older ones are and start from there. Here's a earlier one I've did, Elizabeth Taylor of course. This picture just really appealed. It was for a film she did, and I just think she had a fantastic look in it, and her hair is just gorgeous, so I was inspired to do it, and I can see it's not totally perfect, but it was good enough for hanging up. Here we go. And here's one that I got in a book. A guy found my website and he was doing a book called Marlin and Art, and he asked if we could put that in, so that was my wee claim to fame. I've got a painting in a book, and this painting actually stands out amongst all the rest, and it went perfectly. Even I knew when I done it that there were no mistakes. It came out as it was supposed to, which rarely happens. I don't know how it happened with that. It didn't even take a long time. I must have just been in the right mode with that one painting. All the rest have been troublesome and I've got mistakes. Right, here's my wee film star shrine again. We've got Elizabeth Taylor. It's quite an early movie she did. These are all pencil. Really like her look there. She looked quite different in some photographs. That's not very good yet. Right, and the male film stars I like for the past, there's Lee Marvin. They come out really well. These take like about a day and a half. You've got one, these are 8x10s, so they don't take longer than 2 days. You know, you've got something done. I should probably do more pencil, but I find it kind of dull. I like the colour. I've never been really that great at painting, but I like the colour. But you can be a lot more accurate with pencil, and mistakes are easier to fix. You fix them as you go, kind of thing. Kirk Douglas, Buck Lancaster, and then we've got Robert Mitchum. A few more I'd like to do, but it's been at a standstill for a while. The bathroom. Well, there's the Elizabeth Taylor one that I finally got right. That was my third attempt. And I'm not finished. It needs another day or so. It needs to have more paint, and it needs a better finish. You know, it's nearly there, but sometimes I'm just, when I know I've got it, I'm just wanting the frame on it. But I always intended taking that out and giving it another day. And there's pencil drawings of some of the glamour women, which have been the focus for the last few years. There don't seem to be much interest in painting or drawing anything else. Although I did do a landscape a couple of years back, something I've never really bothered with. Yeah. This is an old one, but it came out so good, and it's still up because it's still really, I don't know that I'd do it much better if I did it now. The settee she's sitting on was actually the hardest part here. There's one that was, I remember this being a fairly quick one, but it's quite effective. It was the kind of effect I was looking for. It's quite lifelike, although I think and yeah, I don't think I was totally happy with her face, the skin tone or whatever, but I settled for how it is. There's something else I did in recent times, making plaster masks, and then turning them into Native American look. I used to do them with like a sort of Poirot kind of thing, where this was black, then it was white, and they did the teardrop. Quite a straightforward thing to do. In recent times I thought, why not revive these and try and make them look like Native Americans, and then the ideas just snowball. I thought, well, let's get feathers, let's get artificial hair, so quite awkward for everything, and there's paper clips in the back here holding the hair and the feathers, you know, so it's quite awkward to get them like this. Once they're there, you know, if you take them off, then you need to adjust all the feathers and everything, because they're not like fixed, they're just kind of paper clips hold the hair, and then you just sort of place the feathers where you can. Sometimes they fall out, so it's a bit of kind of trial and error. They look really vivid when you look through the camera. Put them up some time ago in the last year, and when I finish a painting or anything, I'm like, that's it. You hardly even notice it, but as I'm going around looking at all this stuff, I'm kind of enjoying it. Different hair on these ones. It's thicker. I think it's a better look. Let me see if you can see the colour of some of these feathers there. They're like that blue. Look at the markings on them, really nice. They seem alive somehow. Right, hallway. What a hallway I'll call this. These were the first two, and that was all I was intending to do in here. Because I thought it would spoil my decor, but things kind of snowballed. And I put another, and then another, and it's got to the stage where the place is just crowded with them. So you can forget the look of the hall now, they're just filling up the place, and I'll be taking all the spaces that's left. That's the most recent one. Seems quite explicit, but you go in an art gallery and they don't think anything of it, where a lot of what's generally nude women paintings, I think that's art, that's fine, but it doesn't really appeal to me. I mean, there's more depth here, there's more to look at, shows them off better. I remember that blouse being really difficult. one of the earliest ones, which is kind of outshone by the others now. That was one of the few spaces for a future one. So wait. Particular one's going to get changed. I don't like her face, so I found another one. I've not got round to it yet. The rest of it was fine. I need a light. It's a better colour. Really good painting it turned out, but I just don't think I did the face well enough, and I found a different one to put on it. So it's quite an old one. It's really difficult to find a radiator. Right. Too close to get the detail on that. Right, Native Americans are in here. This was a Navajo chief. I made up the background. Chief picture was for a black and white picture in a book, which I just made up the colours to. This was very detailed and really time consuming, because every single wee part of that needed multiple coats, at least 4 times each. But like any things, when you put a lot of time into it, the result comes out quite good. This was a chief who actually, or a Sioux warrior who was actually at the Battle of Bighorn. Again, it was a black and white photograph, which I've just made up the colours to. Here's a really special fellow. He was a Crow chief, well respected. His name was Plenty Coups, which Counting Coup was their way of depicting bravery kind of thing, where you would touch the enemy in battle and getting hurt yourself. So his name being Plenty Coups, you know, you can translate into, you know, often brave or very brave. There's some books out on him which I read, and he really is quite a fascinating fella. Again, it was a black and white photograph to which I've just made up the colours really. I got books on, you know, Indian dress and how the colours should be, but I didn't get anything specific for this, so I made it up. He was a crow warrior. That was a longer than usual one because it's bigger size. The usual size is like 12 by 16. This is 16 by 20 inches. Again, this was a 16 by 20. Did they two sort of together? Maybe about 3 weeks each, which was long at that time. Got this for a book actually, but it's the sort of scene you can envisage as being how it was at times. This is a Cree warrior. This is a Blackfoot girl. Again, that was every one of the wee colour squares or robe was repeated coats to get it up to the right depth kind of thing. Now this was a really special guy, Mandan Chief Matatopa, and he was quite some really brave guy. There's George Catlin, an artist fellow who travelled through the wilderness when it was still wilderness, wrote a lot about him and the Mandans, who pretty much wound up being extinct due to the whites and disease. But he was quite a special fellow, so I put him into that background. He lives on. Now, he's the longest one ever, and again I got for a book. I can't remember the fellow's name who actually created it. But this took 3 months for me to do. 3 days on the sketch alone. I remember doing a lot of the grass with my finger because I just couldn't get it right otherwise. This is what I'm saying about when you want to do something, you just find a way. It just sort of became the natural thing to getting it done the way I was seeing it in the picture. I suppose at that mode or at that minute when I was doing that, I was actually right into the mode, which is normally elusive. This just looks a serious guy. He was head of the Blackfoot Nation when George Catlin was travelling through. He's an amazing pencil drawing of this fellow. You can just, it's almost like alive when you look at it. This is probably my 3rd attempt at the painting. I really need to do this again sometime, do it justice, because it's still not quite as lifelike as I'd like. Dearie me, we've got quite a few. Oh, this one was really, this went over the course of about a year. I mean, I didn't spend all that time in it. I did it partly and then left it because I just went right out the mood. Maybe about, I don't know, 7 or 8 months later I dug them out again and carried on with it. But again, you can see all the time spent in it actually shows up in the detail. It's his garments and everything, just very real. When I paint them and put them up, that's it. I've seen enough of them kind of thing, but as I'm looking at them now, I'm quite liking them. I don't usually study them much. Right, here's some pencil, and there's Red Cloud. Here's a suit. And this was Chief Joseph. He was another great man. And there's Sitting Bull, of course, I've just heard of him. They're living on. A bit of wildlife. Obviously that monkey was quite funny. Again, it's quite lifelike. I like that. That's what you want them all to be. Cheetah, they are so difficult. I keep saying that, but the spots on them make them extra difficult. There's two lions that I photographed at Edinburgh Zoo, which made for a good painting. Tiger, there's no shortage of tigers. They're just majestic. It's one of the few ones that came out just perfect. That just went as it should. No mistakes, nothing. I don't know how. The rest tend to be quite troublesome. Take your energy kind of thing. See how lifelike it is when I zoom in. Although they lose a bit being under glass. When you take them out of the glass, they get a different life about them. Well, that was a tiger I adopted for some number of years, called Casper. Used to do that a lot with charities nowadays. Here's my wee Xena shrine. The light's not letting me get this. I'll make the light in here so I can get the colour. It was a really good image here. I made up the background in a graphics program. This was a lengthy one too, being 16:20 again. So bigger is longer time. Here's one where she really looks gorgeous, but I never quite captured her. In fact, here's something like the original picture where I was trying to get her free. I'll maybe do that again actually, I've been thinking about that. We've got one more, which is one of the very few landscapes I've ever done. It's a nice image. I've got a collection, a really big collection of these that I meant to get into, but I've not been that inspired. The glamour women have taken over in recent times. Alright, here is one. There's a lot of paintings that aren't up on the wall because there's simply no room for them. So here's a couple that are been taken down to the cupboard. A lot of people liked this one. They always thought it was. They thought it was a photograph, which is a great compliment. It did come out well. And there's another one of these leopards. Spots just take forever. And here's a couple of the Elizabeth Taylors that whoops, never made it. Well, this one has a really nice effect. It just didn't quite have the right look. It's got a velvet effect to the to the image, which I'm going to do it on the completed one. And this was the next attempt, which I knew wasn't getting it right, so I left it and then did the third one that's ready shown, is hanging up in the bathroom. A minute, it's going to fall apart. You can see this because this one's going to fall apart. There's another one that's not on the wall anymore, but I always liked this. It's one of the better ones, but there's just no room for it now. It's the case with little ones. I don't like to take any down, but when you do new ones, they're the favourites. So, that was that. And here is the book, Marlin and Art. My painting. Maybe that's how that one came out perfect, unlike the others, because it was meant to be in a book with me known at the time. And you see, it's good to see your name and something. Claim to fame.